We are taken back to a time many years ago. A man named Friend is introduced. He works as a weather observer, a forecaster. The government wanted detailed reports about the weather conditions of a remote island. For this purpose, they chose Friend, so that the entire year's weather could be tracked by sending him there. Friend is transported to the island by ship. His duty was clear. From there, he would report the weather back to the government. A small house had already been prepared for him, the place where he would live for a whole year. While exploring the area, Friend notices a lighthouse standing tall nearby. Together with the ship's captain, he walks toward it. Inside, they discover a man living there. Gruner was the man who lived inside the lighthouse. The ship's captain asked him about the previous weather forecaster, saying that they had to take him back. Gruner replied that the man had fallen ill and died. When the captain asked about the dead body, Gruner explained that he had gone out sick one day and never returned. He might have drowned. The captain then prepared to leave. Before going, he handed his gun to Friend, warning him that the island was dangerous and that he should take care of himself. Afterward, Friend went inside the house prepared for him. There, he found the diary of the previous weather observer. In its pages were sketches of the lighthouse and strange creatures. Friend assumed that the forecaster had lived alone and must have made such drawings out of loneliness. Soon, he fell asleep, and the next morning, he began his work. One night, as Friend was sitting inside, he felt as though someone was at the door. When he went to check, he saw a hand reaching under the door, a hand that looked like it belonged to a strange animal. Terrified, Friend ran down to the basement and stayed there the entire night. At sunrise, when he finally came out, he discovered strange footprints leading away from his house toward the sea. Confused and uneasy, Friend decided to visit the lighthouse to speak with Gruner, but Gruner refused to open the door and coldly told him, "You should have left with them." Friend realized that the creature which had come to his house last night would surely return, so he built wooden barriers around his house and prepared himself. Inside, he found a rifle and several bullets, which gave him a little courage. That night, the creature returned. Friend began firing at it. The creature was enormous, and in desperation, Friend set fire to the wooden barriers around his home to keep it from crossing. But the flames spread quickly, and soon his own house began to burn. Afraid it would be destroyed, Friend rushed outside. He saw that all the creatures had moved away because of the fire. Sitting beside a stone, he watched his house burn. By morning, Friend noticed Gruner stepping out to fetch water. Suddenly, a creature came toward Friend. Believing it was about to attack him, he raised his gun, but Gruner told him to leave it, saying, "She won't harm you." Gruner called the creature, and it went to him obediently. Gruner then invited Friend to live with him in the lighthouse, since he had all the necessary supplies, including food. The creature stayed with them as well. Gruner explained that this same creature had once tried to attack him, but he had trained it, and now it lived with him as a pet, obeying his commands. Friend asked Gruner why he hadn't left with his ship when he had the chance, since he already knew about everything. Gruner replied that he didn't want to return to that world. This was his world. He declared himself the king here, saying he could live and eat as he pleased, and that he loved this life. Friend answered that it was fine if Gruner wished to stay, but when the next ship arrived, he would ask them to take him back. Gruner told him that no ship would be coming anytime soon. Very rarely did ships reach this island, and the one that had brought Friend would not return until a year later. Still, Gruner reassured him, explaining that the creatures did not attack in the daytime, but only at night. All Friend had to do was protect himself after dark, just as he did. Then, Gruner released the creature onto the roof. It began to weep, and its cries drew the attention of its companions. Soon, the other creatures arrived and began attacking the lighthouse. Gruner began firing at the creatures. He urged Friend to shoot as well, but Friend couldn't handle it and fainted. Meanwhile, Gruner kept fighting against the creatures through the entire night. By morning, he woke Friend up and told him, "If you want to survive here, you'll have to work. You'll have to fight these creatures. Strengthen yourself." He then sent Friend outside to fetch water. When Friend returned, he found Gruner and the female creature unusually close, something that appeared very strange to him. Afterward, the three of them sat and ate together. That night, when the creatures returned, Friend also began shooting at them. Seeing this, Gruner shut the door and left Friend to fight alone. Friend kept firing and struggled against the creatures all night. By morning, it was clear that despite living together, Gruner and Friend could not truly become friends. They were only surviving side by side. When night fell again, no creatures appeared. Friend believed they might now be afraid, saying that the creatures wouldn't return since they had realized they couldn't defeat them. But Gruner disagreed, saying, "No, we killed many of them. They are multiplying, and they will attack us again." At that moment, Friend began to feel pity for the female creature who lived with them, separated from her own kind. He gave her a name, Anaris. Several nights passed without any attacks. Life seemed to settle. Friend and Gruner even relaxed enough to sit down and play chess. They had forgotten to turn on the lighthouse light. At that moment, many creatures attacked them. During the fight, Gruner's foot was injured, though both of them survived safely. Soon after, Anaris began licking Gruner's wound, and her saliva revealed a strange power. It could heal any injury. One day, Friend was standing at the edge of the sea when he spotted a ship in the distance. Excited, he grabbed a flare gun to signal for help, but before he could fire it, Gruner stopped him. Gruner didn't want anyone to come to the island while Friend desperately wanted to escape. Friend was about to confront him, asking why he wouldn't let him fire the signal, when Anaris suddenly attacked Gruner as well. Furious, Gruner beat her, and Anaris ran away. Later, when Anaris realized that Friend truly wanted to escape, she supported him. Friend grew hopeful at the sight of the ship and told Gruner everything, but Gruner said he already knew about it. He explained that the ship belonged to the Portuguese and that when they had come here, the creatures had dragged them into the sea before they could even set foot on the island. Gruner added that he had once found bombs, like dynamite, near the wreck, but all of them were damaged. Friend then urged Gruner to help him check the ship again, hoping they might find something useful. Gruner refused, saying he had no interest. Friend pleaded, asking him to just come along and pump oxygen while he went underwater himself. If they could find even a few good dynamites, they could kill many of the creatures at once. But Gruner still declined. The next day, we see Anaris and Friend bathing together in the water. Gruner was watching, and he grew jealous of the friendship between Friend and Anaris. When Friend returned to the lighthouse, Gruner suddenly told him that he was ready to go. Together, they set out toward the wreck. Friend explained to Gruner, "If I pull the rope 3 times, it means I need your help." Then he went underwater. By luck, he discovered many boxes filled with dynamite. He passed the boxes up to Gruner one by one, but as he worked, the young ones of the creatures appeared. Frightened, Friend quickly pulled the rope for help. Gruner, however, ignored it. He no longer wanted to save him. Friend struggled but managed to untie his diving suit and made his way back to the surface on his own. Despite the tension, they carried the dynamite back with them to the lighthouse. Once there, they placed the dynamite all around it. A week passed, yet no creatures came. The island was growing colder, snow was falling, and Gruner became restless. He wanted to kill all the creatures before the weather worsened. Staying alert every night, he waited for them to attack so that he could finally set off the explosives. But when nothing happened, Gruner's frustration turned to rage. "What kind of game are these creatures playing with me?" he shouted. In his fury, he turned to Anaris, intending to kill her. Friend stopped him, which only fueled Gruner's jealousy further. He hated the bond growing between Friend and the creature. Gruner demanded that Friend keep watch at the door for any sign of the creatures, so that he could trigger the blast at the right time. Meanwhile, Gruner dragged Anaris up to the roof and forced her to cry out. Her wailing echoed into the night, and soon the other creatures began to arrive, drawn by her cries. As they swarmed, they attacked Friend, forcing him to retreat up to the roof of the lighthouse. Gruner set off the dynamite. The explosion killed all the creatures, but both he and Friend were injured in the blast. When they looked for Anaris, she was gone. She had left. The next day, Anaris returned, and with her came many of the creatures. At that moment, Friend realized the truth. They had never wanted to fight. They only longed for peace. But because Gruner wanted to destroy them, they had been forced to attack. Gruner appeared and pointed his gun at Anaris, ordering her to go inside. But she was furious at him for killing her kind. She refused to obey, glaring at him with anger. Gruner couldn't believe it and began rambling like a madman, asking what was happening. Then he staggered back inside the lighthouse. Outside, Friend gently handed a young creature a small ship he had carved from bone. As the child gazed at it, Gruner suddenly fired his gun, killing the little one. Night fell, and the creatures withdrew back into the sea. When Friend came inside, he confronted Gruner angrily. Gruner was about to kill him when Friend called out his real name. Friend told him, "I know you. You are the one who came here before me as a weather forecaster. You were a weather observer, just like me, the one you claimed had died." Gruner froze in shock. He had never wanted his true identity revealed, because if anyone knew, he would have been called back from the island. His mind, already unstable, finally broke. He stumbled outside the lighthouse, where the creatures surrounded him and tore him apart. Now, Friend was left alone on the island. He continued living there for a full year. When people finally arrived, the captain and a new weather forecaster who was meant to take Friend's place, they found him. His hair and beard had grown long, his body and spirit worn down. They mistook him for Gruner, the one who had always lived in the lighthouse. Friend remained silent, because he did not want to reveal his true identity. When they asked him about Friend, he gave the same reply that Gruner once had, that Friend had fallen sick and died. In that moment, Friend began to feel exactly as Gruner once did. He was now living here in peace with no one to question him. He had come to love this life. Just then, the ship's captain ordered a search of the island. At the same time, we saw Anaris running and leaping into the ocean. This showed that the two of them were still living together here, with no one left to disturb them. Friend had no desire to leave. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories.